One very basic definition of addiction could be the following: the inability to stop a certain behavior, despite it having negative effects on many aspects of your life. Now, watch this. Do you see any similarities between our definition of addiction and an utterly active mind? Have you ever tried to stop the thinking process for a while and realized that it seems impossible to do so, even if the thoughts you're experiencing are negative in nature and make you feel anxious and depressed? Your mind is an instrument, a tool. It is there to be used for a specific task, and when the task is completed, you lay it down. As it is, I would say about 80 to 90% of most people thinking is not only repetitive and useless, but because of its dysfunctional and often negative nature, much of it is also harmful. Observe your mind and you will find this to be true. It causes a serious leakage of vital energy, writes Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now. Just like you would turn off a drilling machine after use, the mind too should be turned off for a while after its task is done. Unfortunately for us, most people live in a perpetual state of overactive mind activity. The drilling machine is always on, always drilling even if a hole isn't needed, creating problems where there are none. It's when we live in our heads, on automatic pilot, letting our thoughts go here and there, exploring, say, the future or the past, and essentially not being present in the moment. But that is where most of us live most of the time, and pretty uncomfortably, if we are being honest.
Get out of my head! Leave my brain alone!
With time, those perpetual thoughts become deeply ingrained beliefs. The automatic pilot may seem handy at first, but it is a terrible guide if we leave it completely unattended. Once you have identified with some form of negativity, you do not want to let it go. And on a deeply unconscious level, you do not want positive change. It would threaten your identity as a depressed, angry, or hard done by person. You will then ignore, deny, or sabotage the positive in your life. This is a common phenomenon, says Tolle. Excessive thinking, especially the negative kind, is then the default state of the brain, and every deviation, for example by being mindful, will feel odd, weird, or wrong. And the mind will start pulling any trick on you to pull you back into ruminating about problems instead of observing the great view or your kids playing, reading a book, or just sitting on a park bench and breathing the fresh air. Not only that, but the brain will reflect those habits physically because it is plastic. No, not that plastic. More like this one. It can drastically change over the course of time. Neuroanatomical structures can become smaller or bigger, just like muscles. If you use a muscle often, it becomes stronger and bigger. And the same is true for certain parts of the brain. Thankfully, this is a process that goes in both directions. When you stop excessive thinking, the parts of the brain responsible for it become less active, smaller, or thinner, while other parts of the brain responsible for awareness and focus become stronger. A study carried out at Yale University found that mindfulness meditation decreases activity in the default mode network, DMN, the brain network responsible for mind wandering and self-referential thoughts, also called the monkey mind in Eastern societies. The monkey mind is active when we're not immersed in anything in particular, when our mind is just wandering from thought to thought without our conscious attention, free to wander wherever it wants. It starts with thinking about the cheesecake your mother baked today, then remembering your university professor, eating cake during a break.
Wait, does Professor have one F or two? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Followed by the thought about how he mistreated you and that you failed the last exam because of him, and ends with worrying if you are even capable of finishing your studies and if it's all worth it. Sometimes it stops here. Most often it doesn't. The first few thoughts are also optional, and many immediately skip to the boring. Meditation through its quieting effects on the DMN, appears to drastically reduce this chatter. Even when the mind does start to wander, because of the new connections that form, meditators are better at snapping back out of it before it ends in catastrophizing about your life and feeling bad about it. In one study, participants randomly assigned to an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction group were compared with controls on self-reported measures of depression, anxiety, and psychopathology. They also tested for neural activity while watching a sad movie, measured by fMRI, which not only takes pictures of the brain, as a regular MRI does, but also records brain activity occurring during a scan. In addition to significantly less anxiety, depression, and somatic distress compared with the control group, the fMRI data indicated that the mindfulness group had less neural reactivity when they were exposed to the sad film, and they displayed distinctly different neural responses while watching the films than they did before their mindfulness training. That basically means that they felt less sad even when facing something sad right in front of them. As Daniel Goleman and Richard Davidson write in their book Altered Traits, these changes are trait-like. They appear not simply during the explicit instructions to perceive the stressful stimuli mindfully, but even in the baseline state for long-term meditators, which supports the possibility that mindfulness changes our ability to handle stress in a better, more sustainable way. Some people would do anything to achieve that state of mind where everything just shuts up for a while. Now you know that there is a less dangerous way to achieve that. Instead of having bad concentration and a wandering mind, you can have great focus and a cool mind. It all starts within, but has to be reflected in your habits too. Start by not responding to the slightest feeling of sadness, boredom, or anger by numbing yourself with sweets, phone usage, or cursing the world. Learn more about meditation and try it for yourself. Getting out of the gray mental rut will make everything more vivid and beautiful. Get your intention clear and start the habit and see for yourself if you feel any better. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Oh, have you ever seen Kung Fu Panda?
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles.
Quit, don't quit. Noodles, don't noodles. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.